wasn't used at all. It was only used for very few times for government witnesses. But when you speak to the first responders, you speak to these heroes, and you hear the story that they tell, and you hear the family members that Bob McElveen, superhuman. I mean, you speak with family members that are still living 9/11 every day. And what kills me is that Obama and his team have come up with this formula to say, we have to put the past behind us. Well, 9/11 is being lived every day, not by only the family members, but by the first responders. 2 first responders passed away last week. These are heroes that went in to recover my uncle's body who died because of these different ailments that they have. So, we have to continue to press for the truth, and we have to continue to press for justice, because if we don't get to the bottom of what really happened on my uncle's murder, then it opens the door for it to happen again, and that's not something that we want. We want to empower people with knowledge, and with that knowledge, let people use that knowledge to make better decisions and to save lives ultimately in the future.
Absolutely, Manny. All right, let's jump to the phone calls, guys. Let's go to Stephen in Texas. Stephen, you're on the line.
Hey, good evening, Jason, and good evening, Luke and Manny. Hey, Luke, I just wanted to say, man, I've been following the movement that you started several years ago, and I just wanted to say, first of all, I really appreciate the work that you've done, and I know you're not doing this trying to be some kind of hero or garner attention. You're just doing it as a concerned American, and the guy that initially took up the cause of these first responders. And I'll tell you, man, you got a lot of guts. I appreciate the way that you're very intelligent, how you approach when you confront these people, and the way you're able to stand up for what's right and confront these people. And one thing I was just wondering, the situation that happened to you not long ago where you were set up and then arrested, and also the situation with the guy with We Are Change, I think it was there in New York City, the guy that was set up, they said that he assaulted that girl in the wheelchair. I was wondering what was happening with both of those cases.
I mean, with my case right now, I just went to court last Tuesday, and I pleaded not guilty. My next court day is actually going to be on my birthday and my lawyer's birthday, July 27th, which is also Manny Badillo's birthday. So on my birthday, I'm going to have to go to court. That's when the whole trial starts. But I am fighting the case. I am countersuing the city. I am countersuing Bloomberg for falsely arresting me. I got some of the documents, and in the documents, they say that a custodian told me to leave, and I wouldn't leave. I never once spoke to any custodian. I only spoke to NYPD intelligence that specifically told me to stay in that specific location and not move. And I'm fighting the case. We're going to get, videotape, surveillance footage. I got 1 camera back out of 3 cameras that they still have. And I'm fighting the case as much as I can right now. And thank God for all the people who supported me online and helped me get a lawyer, because
Luke, let me
I'm
ask
not
you a
letting this
question.
one go.
Why did they give you 1 out of the 3 cameras back? Did they say a reason why they gave you 1 and not the other 2?
Getting the cameras back for me was extremely grueling and extremely hard. It was under my name, and I had to go through 3 different buildings. I literally tried 5 times to get my cameras back, and on the 5th try, I was able to get my camera back. That's how hard it is. My friends are going through the same process right now. They're trying to get their cameras back, but the camera underneath my name, I gotten back. And what's really interesting about the case, me, out of 3 people who were arrested that day, the DA and prosecution was giving me a harsher charge to plea than both of my friends. They were actually giving me, they're telling me to plead guilty and get 2 days community service, 6 months probation, when they were offering my friends ACDs, which means they don't have to plead guilty. So they wanted to make sure I was going to plead guilty. They played dirty tricks. They tried to do that. They said they would give my cameras back if I pleaded guilty. I said no. I stuck to my guns, went to court, pleaded not guilty, got 1 camera back, and now we're trying to get both cameras back.
All right, Stephen, I thank you for the call, my friend. I got too many callers. I appreciate it. Let's go to John. John, you're on the air. Yes, John.
I wanted to have a couple of quick comments. Like the show, I worked for a company, and this is for everybody who doesn't believe the whole UN thing that's going on. I worked for a company that actually redid and renovated military bases.
Mm-hmm.
And on a lot of those bases, they put in UN barracks and UN cross-training facilities.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually still have copies of the plan sitting in my house.
Well, you know what? That's going to be something that they're probably going to use full force with this NLE 09 exercise coming up at the end of July into August, I think the first week of August, and we're talking about the first ever terror drill that's quote-unquote preventative. A terrorist attack happens overseas, and we're going to be doing this drill not only in FEMA Region 6, Texas, and other states, but with the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, Mexico, private forces, all tribal governments, all local governments, all state governments, and all federal government agencies. So it doesn't shock me that the UN is heavily embedded in our military facilities when this is about global government and a global takeover. Anything else, John?
Yeah, I just one more question. I actually sent you an email on MySpace, and I was wondering if you or Alex had ever had a chance to talk to somebody named Jello Biafra. He's actually the ex-lead singer of the Dead Kennedys.
No, I would love to talk to the ex-lead singer of the Dead Kennedys. I actually saw the Dead Kennedys play a couple years back. It wasn't their band. It was the Dead Kennedys playing with Serge Tankian of System of a Down on his solo tour. So I'm not sure if the lead singer was there, but the entire band was there. And you're kidding me? I'd love to talk to him. I haven't seen that email. Try to shoot it to me again at myspace.com/Jason Bermas. I thank you for the call, John. Carl in Texas, you're on the line. Yes, Carl.
Can Luke talk about the $100,000?
Oh, look who it is! It's the stalker Sally. Oh, it's the princess. It's the not so pretty little princess, Stalker Sally. There he is. He has to always call in under a separate name because he can't help it. There's no $100,000, you moron. Are you out of your mind? I mean, seriously, I know that you're fat. I know that you're retarded. I know that you have some sort of a mental illness. But you'll believe anything somebody types up or says on some small little radio show that 12 people listen to. You love to jump on that stuff because that's your life.
What do you care
because
to
your life,
comment on that?
no, your life is pathetic.
What do you care
your
to comment
family
on
doesn't
that?
care about you. I mean, your wife's probably screwing the mailman. Let's be honest.
You're wrong.
And your
You're wrong.
kids.
You're wrong.
I mean, they have the unfortunate, the unfortunate
You're
situation
wrong.
of having you
You're
as their
wrong.
father. I mean, my
wrong.
dad wasn't the best buddy, but he was about 1,000 times better than you. And I mean, I feel bad for them. They're growing up in complete ignorance. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. I mean, could you have a worse Southern drawl that makes you sound more ignorant? You probably couldn't. I thank you for the call, idiot. All right, let's go to Chris in Florida. Chris, you're on the line. Yes, sir.
Troy? Go Troy. Troy.
Whatever. What's up, Chris?
Yeah, that's what I thought his real name, but the original started using so long ago. Then somebody found out about him being a used car dealership, and I don't know, anyway. But I was calling, didn't We Are Change, and weren't you the ones, and by the way, I'm a member of the Tampa We Are Change meetup group here. Didn't We Are Change initiate to begin the Tea Parties?
What was that about? We Are Change and the Tea Parties?
Weren't you the guys who began the Tea Parties, and was it run Campaign for Liberty?
Although, no, even before We Are Change, before Campaign for Liberty, but definitely members of both organizations have attended such tea parties. But I remember Carol Brule, who is another, victim's family member out in California. She is the one, I'm pretty sure, that started the 9/11 Truth tea parties back in either 04 or 05, where they actually had a large 9/11 Commission book with huge holes in it, and I've attended a couple of these where they throw it into the San Francisco Bay. So those tea parties actually predated the Ron Paul Revolution and really predated WeAreChange.org. Or Luke, have you ever been to any of these tea parties?
Yeah, I've been to the initial one that started in Boston, and that was a great event. The Boston Tea Party, where we threw the commission report into the river. That was a really great event.
What was that? 05 or 06?
I think that was 06, I believe. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know the dates exactly, but I remember being there, and it was a pretty good event.
What about you, Manny? Have you ever been out to any of these tea parties?
Yeah, it was the 06. It was the event in 06. It was the Boston Tea Party. It was fantastic. I'll tell you that there was a lot of discussion even then about what we know. And that conditioning that we've been part of since birth. There's a classical conditioning that's taking place, really to get us away from, that critical thought. And, it concerns 9/11. It concerns so many other different issues. But yeah, the Boston Tea Party started. We threw the, these crates of foam, commission report books. But ultimately, these are the type of things, once people become just a little bit aware, just a little knowledge, people want to learn more. And right now, what it comes down to is there's so much to know about what happened to my uncle. And there's so much to know about what happened to all the first responders that are dying today. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. But ultimately, if people are dedicated and people really want to bring, the justice that's due, but also to bring to their lives, to bring to their families, to bring to their friends something more than just what we're living every day. I mean, I'll walk in Times Square and people, there's lights everywhere, and when we're handing out flyers at even Times Square, I'm giving them information, and it's like, look around